Hello my crazy people, welcome back to another thrilling episode of Mac Music Review. Today we're looking at the album Battleborn by The Killers. The Killers are a legendary alternative rock band who exploded onto the scene with their explosive debut album Hot Fuss. This album was absolutely huge in alternative rock. It created what could be said as one of the most legendary, without a doubt, one of the most legendary alternative rock songs ever written, ever made, which is Mr. Brightside. Also several other songs which I would consider legendary, like All These Things That I've Done and Somebody Told Me. They also had songs like When We Were Young from Sam's Town that were super big on alternative radio, and they were just kind of a huge band after their debut album. And this is their least popular album. This is their least successful album with 0 hit songs. It's their only album that didn't have any hit of any sort. And it also is probably their longest album. This album has 12 full-length songs on it. And the last song, several of these songs are almost 5 minutes, and the last song, the title track, is over 5 minutes. So I'm pretty sure this is the longest Killers album. Battleborn really stands out in the Killers discography because it sounds very different from Hot Fuss and Sam's Town and Day and Age. This album, basically in this album, the Killers put on their best U2 impression. They try to do their best U2 impression with a bunch of very slow to mid-tempo ballads. The songs are never really explosive. On their first album, on their first 2 albums, the music would get really energetic and really fast-paced. And the music on this thing, it is bombastic, it is huge sounding. There are ballads, but it's much slower, it's much more refined, it's much more like mid-tempo, and it feels a lot more restrained. Like, it feels like they're holding back a lot of their energy in the singing and the music, and they're really just trying to be a little bit more serious this time around. That's what a lot of these songs feel like, sound like. Or basically all the songs on this album, really. With all that being said, Battleborn, especially when compared to Hot Fuss, and compared to songs like When We Were Young, you look at those hits, you look at their older stuff, and you listen to this, and it almost sounds like you're listening to another band. The ambition is still there in this album. Like I said, it's very ambitious, but it feels lukewarm in terms of the musical intensity. They don't really get that energy and that intensity and that epicness on the same scale, in the same way that they did. And this, they sound restrained. They sound like they're holding back. And for that reason, it makes this album sound a lot worse and a lot less appealing than Hot Fuss. You listen to Hot Fuss and you say, wow, this is what they're capable of. This is what they sound like when they're on maximum capacity. And then you listen to this and you're like, it sounds like they're not even trying. Like they're half-hearted. It's not that they're not trying. It's that they're doing something different. They're going for these more serious ballad-type rock songs. And honestly, they're not bad. In fact, there are very few moments on this album that I can say are downright bad. There's very few moments that I can say are downright disappointing and not good. I guess some of the only songs that I don't really like, or moments I don't really like, Heart of a Girl is not great. It's a love ballad, a pretty slow love ballad song that just really isn't that great. A Matter of Time, it's kind of dumb. The vocal effects in the verse is kind of generic and kind of cheesy. And then the chorus sounds insanely similar to Rising of the Tide. I mean, The Rising Tide. And The Rising Tide is about 1,000,000 times better. So, I mean, it's just both songs sound very similar, but The Rising Tide is just very obviously better. So that makes Matter of Time basically pointless. But and then Here With Me is a slow love ballad. Once again, not the most successful song on the album, but definitely not bad. Most of these songs are really not bad. These songs have, like, their electronic elements that the Killers are known for. They have those synths and those electronic elements, especially on Deadlines and Commitments and Runaways, and a bunch of these songs, and they really do give some extra oomph to the songs. Brandon Flowers' singing on this thing is really good. Like I said, the instrumentation is pretty good on this album. The first song, Flesh and Bone, is a really good opener. Runaways is a lot of fun. The Way It Was has a fantastic build-up, but a disappointing chorus. That's one of the only moments on this thing that really lets me down. But the build-up to this song is really awesome and just sounds really, really cool. Deadlines and Commitments is another really cool song. Once more, a really good chorus on this thing. The electronics are particularly good on this song. They really make it stand out in the track list. Miss Atomic Bomb is super catchy. It is a love ballad. It's the best love ballad on this thing. Super catchy, and it just sticks with you, and it's memorable, and it's a pretty good song. The Rising Tide has a killer chorus. It's awesome, it's catchy, it's memorable. From Here On Out is the shortest song on this album. It's only a little bit over 2 minutes, and it's the most upbeat song on the album. It's the most upbeat and energetic, and it really stands out on the album, and it's a really great standout. The song is really good. I really like this song. Be Still is the most serious song on this album. It is this really slow, really serious ballad where the lyrics and the music is really slow and serious, like I said. And it stands out, and it's good. It's not amazing, but it's, you know, it's good. It's definitely not bad. Now, the last song on this album is the longest song on this album. That is Battleborn, the title track. It's awesome. This song is hugely ambitious. It basically goes to the same U2 style as these other songs. It doesn't really get super energetic and crazy sounding. Like, the music doesn't really get frantic and really crazy. It is very bombastic. It is huge sounding. It is epic. And it just is awesome. The lyrics, you want to scream along to this song. It's super, like, inspirational is what it's going for. But it's in the best ways. In the best ways. I don't care if the lyrics are a little bit cheesy. It just makes you want to just sing along. But Brandon Flowers' vocals on this one just kill it. And you're just like, yeah, when you're listening to this. And it's an excellent song. Yeah. With all that being said, Battleborn is a very different album for the Killers. It's the only album in their discography that really sounds like this. I wouldn't say it's the worst album in their discography, but nowhere close to the best. If you compare this to Hot Fuss, you're going to be like, why are they not doing that? That's the question every person that's listened to both albums has to say, or even some of their old hits. You're like, why are they not doing that? Because that is so awesome. And this album is a huge departure from that. And as a result, and it just feels kind of lukewarm, the music, because it doesn't have that energy. It doesn't have that energy, and it just feels a little bit half-hearted, a little bit lukewarm. It feels restrained, like they're holding back. Like it feels like wasted potential in a lot of ways. But still, it's not a bad album. It's very different, and it's hard to really like it because of Hot Fuss and because of how amazing Hot Fuss and how different Hot Fuss is. And this album is just much less energetic. Still, most of these songs are really good. I really don't... They're not as... Of course, they're not as good as they could be, because if it was more like Hot Fuss, they would be better. But they're good for what they are. This album is very, very good for what it is. A U2 impersonation album with some electronic elements and synths and Brandon Flowers' excellent vocals. I'm going to give this album a 3.5 out of 5. Thank you for watching the video. Yeah, if you do like a ranked video, like you rank the Killers albums, most people say that the worst Killers album, most fans say that the worst Killers album is Day and Age. But technically, on Metacritic ratings, the two worst Killers albums are this and Sam's Town. I've never even listened to Sam's Town. When You Were Young, or When I Was Young, or I don't remember the name of the song. I kept referencing it. That song is awesome. And what I've heard is that it sounds a lot like Hot Fuss, so that's probably... I don't know. I haven't listened to it, but this album's not bad. Thank you for watching the video.